This conference will now be recorded.
Hi, very good morning and good evening, everyone. Welcome back. So in the last session, we were discussing about how do we set up our application, the whole with shell scripting. I think we were just trying to talk about that, so we were not able to complete it. I think so each and every component, I'm going to run the shell script once again, so that at least my application should work as expected. Okay, I think we found out some break. I don't really remember, but let's go to the workstation and quickly, so we have, we have created some small shell script also to launch the instances even, right? So using the Amazon CLI. Okay, how to contact the Amazon. So far you're actually using the Amazon UI. So over the command line also, I have created the instances. Okay, I shown how to write that particular simple script, right? So we'll just run that particular script, we'll get the instances. Once after we get the instances, okay, so then we'll go and update the DNS records as well. Okay, so using the same shell script, and then I'll go for okay, running our script in each and every script in each and every component, and we'll see how it is actually going to work. Okay, let's see. Okay. All right. So sh launch.sh or cat the script. So you have two options I have given. So sh launch.sh. So either you have to give launch. Okay, if you give launch, it's just gonna launch the spot instances. So launching front end, launching catalog, launching cart, user. Okay, so one by one, it is actually launching it. Okay, done. So I'm just going to refresh now. I should see all the instances. All right, perfect. Okay. So now we're going to go to before to that even. Okay, and so then I should be going with updating the routes. So routes is going to update the route 53 record. Okay, so with the new IP which is launched. Okay, so the DNS record creation is also done, and so now we can just go and run one by one server. That's it. Okay, so starts with the front end, and I'll go to front end. Sudo set hosting, I will say as front end. Okay, and sudo su, or I'll just exit once and I'll return back. So that I'll be front end guy. Okay, the name should look like front end, so that's fine. And yeah, and over here, so I will go to git clone, So where is our repository? github.com/. Okay, so cd roboshop sudo yum install make. This is the first command -y, and then or even rm-rf shell scripts. So sudo first yum install make -y, and so git space clone of this one, this URL. So cd shell scripting and shell scripting, and inside that you have roboshop project. Okay, and then cd shell scripting roboshop project, and then sudo make space printed. Now, so we can move on to the next instance. So while it is running, we can move on to the other one as well. So it's done even there, and I'll go to the Mongo. Sudo set -host name, and it's gonna be Mongo. Set once, and I'll recommit once. All right. Okay, so while it is going on, I'll go to another instance. Mongo is done. I'll go to catalog might be. Set -host name catalog. So you don't really need to do this and reconnect and do that. So you can continue, but you know that, right? So we already discussed about that, why I'm doing it, just to avoid the confusion. So where I'm executing what. So just some clarity. So that's where I'm going to go for catalog. Okay, now in the meantime, let's go to another one. So after catalog, so we'll go with Redis. I am actually getting bored of executing the password. So let me do this. So set, I'll directly log in as a root user also, right? Set -host name. So which this is Redis. So su -s user. Now here I'll execute the required one. So now take this, put it here, and give Redis. Okay, so got catalog. This is my custom command. Don't bother about that. Just rsh means I'll just log in as a root user directly. So some of my automation make my life easy. So set -host name to this as, which one I'm selecting, cart, right? So cart. Okay. So su -CentOS, switch the user. what is that? Cart. Take that. The other side will go to user. Okay. Done. And then my SQL. And that to MySQL. And now what else? It's done. The other side, you can go with some RabbitMQ. We'll go with shipping. And the last one, which comes is payment. Which makes this payment I'm not giving. Okay, so finally all the things are done. So let it complete the payment. I think nowhere my script has been a failure. Everywhere I see at least as a success. Okay, you see this. So here front end success. Okay, so Mongo success, Redis success, catalog success, and card service success, and then user service success, and RoboShop. What is this? RabbitMQ is correct. Okay, and so this is MySQL went through fine, and shipping also went through fine. So the payment is actually coming up. Payment also mostly will go through as expected. I'm expecting. Okay, so all we have installed that particular one with automation. Okay, fine. Now if I go and hit this particular front end over the browser, everything should work as expected. Okay, so first of all, categories is coming. Okay, login. I'll just say that, you know, register myself. So error database not available. So this is something not expected. So somewhere it is actually failing. Okay, and who is actually failing here? User service. Okay, let's log into the user service. And where is my user? Here is my user. Let's go into the user and see. Let's ask user what is happening. So sudo su hyphen, so tail hyphen f slash var log messages. So here it is giving, okay, Redis, sorry, MongoDB connect error. So cat slash etc systemd and then system slash user dot service file. And here it is actually given as MongoDB hyphen test. Okay, fine. First of all, I want to telnet to this particular port. Okay, I want to check whether this instance is working fine or not. Okay, first I'll go and give ns lookup of this one, whether it is resolving to the a record. It is not really resolving to a record. Okay, MongoDB hyphen test. I think it went as Mongo hyphen test. Okay, it went as Mongo hyphen test. Okay, that is the problem. Okay, but catalog worked, right? So catalog, you're getting the items. Okay, so let's log into the catalog and see why it worked on catalog. Okay, so ls, so cat slash etc systemd and then system slash catalog dot service file. So here I'm giving Mongo hyphen test, there I'm giving MongoDB hyphen test. So that means user script, there is a small correction I need to make it. It's not actually MongoDB, it's Mongo hyphen test. And let's go to the user. It's successful. So still I'm getting that. So what you need to do is systemctl daemon reload. So tail hyphen f slash var log messages and systemctl restart user service. Now it is MongoDB connected. Okay, so that means some step might be also I might be missing from here. Daemon reload, I'm doing it. Systemctl daemon reload, I'm doing it. Okay, but I'm not giving a restart option. So I'm giving just a start and it's already not restarting. Okay, so this is something I can fix it. So probably everywhere I will, rather than just starting, I'll just restart the service so that, you know, so if there are any errors, it will come out. Okay, so, and even it fixes the things. So here, front end, restart, common.sh catalog, restart, and cart.sh is also, I will say restart rather than starting. So now that's fine. Now MongoDB is connected. Okay, go back. So now I'll say, so my got registered, the user service is fine. Go to the any product and just click on add to cart. So again, cart is also having the same problem. So let's take a look onto the log of content of cart. Now what actually cart is having a problem? Cart is also having a MongoDB information. So that's where I'm actually giving it as, again, MongoDB. It has to be Mongo. Okay, so that is another problem. Now I will go with Cartwright. Sudo make card. Yeah, this connects only to Redis. That's what I'm wondering. So sudo cat / etc systemd system/cart. So this file. It only goes with Redis host only. That's fine. No issues. Okay, it is also defined there. So then why it didn't work? The add to cart error adding the object. So now what is the problem? Let's take a look onto the log file. So here is some error coming up. Get address info. Okay, some address exception is coming. Okay, catalog endpoint basically is coming as some problem. Okay, so catalog underscore endpoint is actually still as catalog endpoint. You see this? Only Redis is corrected. So catalog endpoint is actually supposed to be corrected in my cart service. So not Mongo endpoint. Actually, it's got it's catalog, and it's actually going to be catalog. Okay, this is the correction I'm making it for my cart guy. Overlooks. These are all just overlooks. So cd shell scripting stop space full sudo make space cart and sudo var log messages. Now I'll just monitoring the log. While I'm monitoring the log, again I'll hit it. So I'll go to the product. I'll just click on add to cart. Now add it to cart. Okay, fine. I go to the cart now and click on checkout. Now countries are coming, which is fine. So Sydney or whatever it is, some countries, some states, some. Okay, confirm. Here the confirm is not working. The confirm is not working, so that means my shipping should be something wrong. So here my cart is done. Payment shipping. So su hyphen. Now tail hyphen af /var log messages. So I think there is some error already reported here. So that means something also problem with the system. Some variable might be missing. Systemd and then system/shipping.service. So here also cart endpoint is fine, DB host is fine, but still I'm getting some error. Okay, what is error? Because I think 8000 is the port or 8080. Okay, cart is running on LNTP, it is running on 8080. So the port number has to be, it's actually going to be 8080, not 8000 port. Okay, so that some correction is there, and that is not your mistake. That is somewhere my code mistake. Let me correct my code. Shipping right. Systemctl stop shipping. rf/home/roboshop/shipping. Let it clean up. I clean up everything so that it pulls the latest code and run it. So s/os and then cd scripting roboshop with space full and then sudo make shipping. So now 8080 is coming fine. which is fine. Now sudo tail -f /var log messages. Okay, let me hit the shipping and see if there any problem comes out. Now click on confirm, or even it worked, right? So sorry. So check out some Australia. Calculate. If I click on confirm, so if your order is coming up, click on pay now. Payment is also done. Now all our components are working as expected. All our components are working as expected, right? So yeah, so our project with the shell scripting part is done, but we can do some enhancements here, and that's where we're actually going and start looking into some more options into the shell scripting, which is some leftover. We didn't really got a chance to touch them, and so yeah, we'll see them. Okay, so let's go with them, and we'll do that. So before proceeding to that, so is everyone clear on the process which you are actually trying to do? Is everyone clear on the process, the approach? Is everyone clear on any questions? Okay, all right. So the next things which we're going to talk about here is the conditional statements. So here, yeah, some conditional. So some conditional statements. So we are using is a case command. Then alternatively, something else is there. Okay. So what is that? And that is the if statement. And why do we use if statement? And where do we use case statement? Case is a very simple one. It doesn't have a. It cannot actually go beyond other than the string. It's a string comparison. So that means whatever the value you have here, it compares with this here. That's it. Nothing more than that. You cannot say that if it is greater than 0, do something. If it is less than 0, do something. You cannot tell that. Okay. Like that, some problems are there with shell scripting. Okay, and that is where so that is where that's where we're going to proceed with the if statement. Just before to that, so I try to dismiss someone actually from the session. So you just rejoined. Can you just reply me who you are? Basically, I don't see your name properly. So I'm just typing your message also. Hello. Can you respond? Who are you? What is your name? All right, let's proceed. So here, the next one, which we're going to talk about is 11 if.sh. So /bin/bash. All right, and okay, if statement, right? So if statement, okay, looks in three forms in general. So if statement looks in three forms. Okay, so the first one is actually going to be a simple if. So that means you're going to look like if, and you put some expression. You're going to put some expression, and then fi. It's like a case exact also the same way. If and reverse of if is fi, and some command basically. Okay. So then what's going to happen here? What's going to happen here is if this expression is true, you're going to execute these commands. If your expression is true, you're going to execute these commands. Then what is that expression? We'll come to that. Okay, the expression is true, it is going to execute some commands. That's fine. The case command also the same thing, right? If it is matches, it is executing the some commands. That's it. All right. Now the next thing. So if expression is true, you want to do something, and if the expression is false, you want to do something. Okay. If expression is true, you want to do something, and expression is false, then you want to do something. So then some commands here, and now I'm going to put like else and going to be commands. All right, so this is the one. Okay, and if this expression is true, it executes this command. If the expression is false, it executes this commands. Now if, and then I'll go for expression 1. Okay, so this is actually I didn't mention about this is a second form. So which is a second form, this is a if else. And the final form, which is also there, so which is else if. Okay, so then fi. So now expression 1, and you're going to have commands 1, and then elif. So you're going to go for expression 2, and then okay. So and then commands 2. Okay, something like that. Now that's how what's it's going to become is if this expression is true, it is going to execute these commands. If the expression 1 is true, it executes commands 1. If expression 2 is true, it executes commands 2. Okay, so yeah, that's how it is. If none of the expressions is true, finally it also can go to else, and it can execute some commands. You know, so finally, if any of the expression is not successful, then it go and okay, go to the else, and it can make the commands there. Okay, so that's the idea. So this is else if. These are the 3 forms which generally if you can look in. Okay, but everywhere you're seeing is what expressions. So now you're having expressions. Now expressions is also categorized into 3. So one is so string comparisons. So string comparisons, and the next one is numerical comparisons, and the third one is filters. Okay, and it is filters. String comparisons. So in string comparisons, so what all you can do is, so here the operators are okay, equal to either it can be a double equal to or not equal to. Okay, so that means you can have some examples here. So your example of operator is actually going to be is if ABC is equal to ABC. Okay, ABC is equal to ABC, or you can go for ABC is not equal to ABC, something, whatever you want to compare both the things. So here yes, ABC is equal to ABC, or ABC is not equal to ABC. Okay, so these are the 2 operators which are having, okay, in string comparisons. You have others also, I'll talk about that to keep it very simple. Okay, I want to write some example basically. And so here I'm going to say that if you were like, let's say $1 is equal to, so if $1 equal to, like, let's say DevOps, okay, then echo welcome to DevOps training. Okay, so if $1 is equivalent to AWS. Then echo, so welcome to AWS, try me, okay, and fi. So this is a simple string comparison you're making it, okay. So let's push this code and execute it in one of the system. So if I give DevOps, so it's just telling you DevOps running and AWS. So AWS. So $1 is a string now. Since it is a string, you are giving equal to. If let's say if $1 is coming as a number, so probably you need to think about numerical comparisons. Okay, how to use number comparison. So the next one is numerical comparisons. And in numerical comparisons, so the operators which you have is operators you're having is hyphen equal to, hyphen not equal to, okay, hyphen greater than if it's numbers, okay, hyphen LT less than, hyphen LE less than or equal to, hyphen so GE greater than or equal to, okay. So yeah. All right, and this is how you are having it. And the next one, which I'm going to, I mean, some examples are actually going to be is some examples is so 1 equivalent to 2, 1 equivalent to 2, okay, like that. All right, so the same way now I'm going to go for if dollar hash, the dollar hash actually, right? So dollar hash is always a number. If it is equivalent to 1, then okay, if dollar hash is the number of arguments which are passed, if it is equal to 1, so since that is a number, you're using the operators. This is the advantage we talked about, right? Or the disadvantage for later, but for now you don't have data type, so you have to think through about what is the data coming up and you have to use that, okay. And you cannot put so hyphen eq in a string comparisons, it cannot help you, okay, it will fail. All right, so if dollar hash is equal to 1, so echo number of arguments is equal to 1, okay, else, okay, so echo number of arguments is not equal to 1, okay, yeah, fine. Okay, so let's push this code. Let's press pull. And yeah, you give this number of arguments equal to 1, and like let's say, so you see this not equal to 1. So second argument also kept it some dummy content, but it's the second argument of the script now, and actually you're getting not equal to 1. So previously you're getting equal to 1, okay. So that's how you can just go with some conditioning with some number comparisons. And finally, last one is a file test. So you have a lot of file operators you have. So here you have a file operators, if expression bash, if I give that way, you'll find out, you'll find out a lot of operators. You better refer them whenever you need it. So you see this, yeah. So these are all the different operators again. Yeah, everything is there here, including files, strings. You see this, these are all files. Okay, when you come to the ending, these are all files. You come bit ending, so you will see some strings. Okay, and also you come bit down even, you will see numbers also. Yeah, you see this is the numbers, hyphen eq, hyphen ne, hyphen lt. Okay, So you will see some numbers also. Okay, so refer this documentation whenever you get a chance. So if it is a file, okay, so then it's all the operators. I can give you some examples. Okay, now, so using these particular options, I would like to enhance my script a bit more. Okay, I mean my project script a bit more. Okay, how do I do that? How do I do that? So let's go and take a look. I go to the components and I go to the first common data set. Can I do anything here? So now you can do a very super thing here. Okay, you see this? So if the condition is true, you don't want to do anything. If the condition, the user ID is not equal to 0, then only you want to perform this, right? So this can be converted into an if statement. So this true nothing to perform actually is not really needed. Now I'll just go and say that if I'm going to say that dollar user underscore ID dollar underscore user ID is not equal to 0. Okay, the logic is if it is not equal to 0, so then you go and give this. Simple, right? You don't really make all that particular unnecessary logic, which is really not needed. So you can directly make it with if statement. So that's where case statements is widely used only in string comparisons. But for others, mostly like if statement is widely used. Okay, so now that is one, and the next one is the common data set. So this is the approach. I think this is fine. Let's go to the card data set. In card data set, can you do something? So can you do something? I think this is fine. If it is equal to 0, you have to give 0. If it is equal to 1, you have to do something. It's fine, no issues. And anywhere did you want to use if statement? No, not really needed. Okay, which is fine. And the next one is a catalog.sh. So catalog.sh also it is still same. I don't think so. You need to make something here and go to the frontend.sh. So frontend.sh also I don't think so. You can make it something. Okay, and mongo.sh. So mongo.sh also you don't think so. I don't think so. You can make it. But here I can make something. So here mongod.conf file, right? So mongod.conf file I want to modify if the file exists. So then only I want to do that. Okay. So just for you to help you and understand this one. So fi. So if the file exists, okay, let's go to the documentation. If -f. What is -f? You go there -e -f. Yeah. True if file exists and it is a regular file. Yeah. Yes, it's a regular file, and if the file exists, then it is true. Then only you do the std command. Otherwise, fail it. Okay, so that's where you're going to do this. Okay, so if the file doesn't exist, so probably then you have to make it like something like if the file exists, this is the case. Okay, if the file doesn't exist, so else. Okay, so stat one I want to give, so mongo config file missing. Okay, so something like that. It's also still okay, right? So I'm just trying to enhance a bit. Okay, rather than blindly going and updating the file, I'm checking whether the file is there. If the file is there, I'm checking it. Okay, if the file is there, then I'm trying to modify it. Otherwise, I'm not modifying it. Just an example I'm giving. I think apart from this, there are no more enhancements are really needed, I think. So just in case you keep in mind that if you have files, if statement is option, and if you have numbers, if statement is option. If you have strings, you have your statement as an option. Okay, case is only for string comparisons or equal to, just equal to or not equal to. That's it. It can do only that much. Okay, so using this, you can. Okay, so yeah, you can do the things. Right. This is all I have. So and one more thing which is there, so which is a while loop is also there. So there's another loop command. So we talked about loops, and there's also another loop. While also goes with an expression. So like let's say I is equal to 10, I is equal to 10. So while $i is greater than 0, while $i is greater than 0, do. So then echo $i and done. So then what's going to happen here? So while actually is going to iterate it. So that means go back, go back, go back, go back. Okay. So rather than if command is actually going to execute and come out, basically while will not execute and come out. So it's continuously going to do what is actually doing I equal to 10, right? So fine, I is equal to 10 and 10 is greater than 0. Yes, 10 is greater than 0, and you print 10 and you go back again, and this is the loop, right? It starts from here only. So it go back here again. So again 10 is greater than 0, again it prints 10. 10 is greater than 0, again print 10. Actually getting into an infinite loop. It is getting into an infinite loop. Now what I'm going to make is I is equal to $i minus 1. Okay, so I is nothing but a variable, and again $i minus 1. Okay, so yeah, so I equal to I minus 1 is what I'm giving, and it's a command substitution. Sorry, arithmetic substitution. We talked about that, double braces, right? So this is the one. So now if I go and give get space full sh 10 loop.sh. Oh, okay. Now you see this 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1 it came, and the next iteration goes as 0. 1 minus 1, which becomes 0. 0 is greater than 0, no, and it's coming out. So now while is going to help you in iterating based on some expression, whereas for loop is actually going to help you in iterating based on some values. Okay, some input values. So it depends upon your need. You have to choose your variable. Choose your loop. Okay, is another one. So while what all the expressions it supports, if also supports the same thing. Okay, and that is all mostly whatever you have in the scripting. So with these particular tools, okay, utilities kind of thing, or some basic blocks, you have to build up your whole, so whole requirements basically, mostly. Some other day you'll find out some more enhancements, that's fine. And most of the things is commands. But logically, these are the options you have. Okay, anything beyond this is majorly is a command. It's a simple command. That's it. In shell scripting, okay, so core concepts is variables, functions, conditions, and loops. These four only, and the rest of everything is a operating system things, or it can be a command basically. Nothing more than that. Seriously, nothing more than that. Okay, and yeah, that's all. That's all on the scripting part. Is everyone clear on this? Any questions? Any questions, confusions? Anything like any one of you think that there can be more in the scripting, like so this topic, that topic. If you have anything in your mind, also just let me know. I can correct you. What is that? All right. So let's go back to the slide. I mean the process which we're actually trying to do. Okay, or even I can create some mind map also. Okay, so basically some mind map. Even I can use this also. Okay, so here, what is that? Chart. So this is this one, and probably let me share this. I can say this as D53 batch. And I would share this, share as a public. Okay, done. And let me put it in Azure DevOps. So if you open that and you open with any account, it works actually. If I just open that, there's a public URL. All you need to do is just log in with sign up with or log in with your account basically. So your email. So like let's say I'll say DevOps b53@gmail.com and okay, you can see that. So whatever I make it, you can see it in public. Okay, all you need to just is sign in with your Google account, whatever it is. That's fine. Done. Okay, so now I will go and make some things here. Now here, what actually we're trying to achieve here. So we are actually trying to so do the manual effort. So what we are actually trying to do is a manual effort. Okay, so manual efforts, we have kept it and we have found out some problems. Our manual effort of creating the RoboShop application is actually having some problems. So what are the problems we identified on the other day? So these are the problems we identified, right? So the problems which we have here is so these are all the problems which we have identified here. Okay, so this is the problems, manual steps, and so we are actually having a standalone servers, dependency configuration is some problems, scalability and security is some problems we are having. Okay, so fine. So these are the problems which we have. All right, and these particular problems we started addressing with some shell scripting. Okay, then we went with what? We went with shell scripting. So shell scripting, what are the things which we have achieved out there? Out of so many things out there, so what are the things which we have achieved? We have achieved automated steps, but have you fixed anything on the standalone part? No, I don't think so. Okay, so standalone servers, have you think about something? Yes, still it is standalone server. I'm not having multiple servers for each and every component, so still this is a problem. Okay, and dependency. So what is the dependency? What thought I made? Dependency configuration. Yeah, dependency configuration is something we achieved it. Okay, so dependency configuration is something I achieved it by using what? By making some DNS. Okay, by making some DNS. So we achieved this also. Let me put it in some color so that text color. We achieved this. We achieved this also. Little bit. Not might be superb, but still we did it something. Scalability we didn't address. Security we didn't address. So those things also we need to understand. But with the shell scripting, so there are new problems which are arising now. Okay, so fine, which is fine. So but the shell scripting, so with the automated steps, whatever you perform, there are new problems are going to arise now. So what are those problems and what all of the things are there is, let's talk about them. Okay, so the problems of shell scripting. Okay, so shell scripting is not that comfortable when you think through. So what are the problems you have here? So problem is, so shell is OS dependent. Okay, so shell is OS dependent. So that means so the shell is an OS dependent. You try to write a shell script and you don't expect to run it on the other operating system. It will not run. It will not run. Okay, so that's the problem. All right, and so shell is an OS dependent. Okay, And what is another problem? So you forget about the other operating system. Like I mean to say, like other vendors, it will not work. That means you write it for Red Hat, you don't expect it to run it for Ubuntu. It will not work. Okay. So the next thing is forget about so that one Red Hat itself, you take it. So you wrote it for Red Hat 7. So that means CentOS 7. You don't expect it to run it on Red Hat 6 machine. It might not work, or it will not work for sure. Okay. So depends upon the scenario again, but still most of the time it fails. So that's a voice dependent. It's a problem. Okay. So shell scripting has to be local. Shell scripting is local. So that means if I want to execute that particular script, so then what I have to do is if I want to execute that particular shell script, so then I have to think it is that script has to be there in the local system, otherwise it will not work. Okay, so the script has to be there on the system. So that's where you are every time you're actually using so pull. Otherwise, if the script is not there, it will not work. Okay, so that is another problem. Okay, script has to be there local. And the next one is shell scripting is local. Shell is SQL. Okay, and shell is SQL. So that means it executes the steps one by one. And sometimes you need to think through. Making it there. Sometimes you need to think through that. So you should go in a parallel effort. Okay, so how do you do that? So that's also a problem. So shell is also is sequential. So shell is sequential. So that's where is another problem here. Okay. And what next? And I'm thinking like, so what is the other problems with the shell scripting? These are the three major, basically, I would say. So shell is always dependent. So, okay, this one, sequential. And shell is imperative. What is imperative? I'll talk about that. But for you, shell is imperative. Okay, so these are the things which you have. Okay, even with the shell also, you address certain things. Okay, so these are the problems which you have right now. So that's where we just went with some shell scripting. We did some shell scripting. Okay, I'll update the notes here a little bit. So not done completely. Okay, so yeah, completed project with shell scripting. We did that, and after that, automated you have addressed, and so dependency configuration solved using DNS. But still there are problems with the shell scripting, as I'm mentioning. So okay, so and what all the problems you have is imperative. What is imperative basically? Imperative versus declarative. Okay, so if you take a look on imperative versus declarative, if it is an imperative, so you just do this way. Okay, what you do, you write a logic in such a way that you write the operating system. If it is actually, if uname equal to uname, if it is a uname equal to Linux, you perform these commands. And if it is a Sun operating system, you do this. If it is a HPX, you do this. If it is an AX, you do this. And even in the Linux also, if it is actually Red Hat, you do this. If it is Debian, you do this. So something like that, you will be doing it. Okay, so but so if you go to the declarative languages, okay, you would simply say that or even so here you are doing user add sample, right? End of the day, you're doing user add and add user something, and SunOS has its own command, HPX has its own command, other Linux operating systems also will have their own commands. But if it is a declarative approach, you're going to write it a very simple way. So user and sample, that's it. User and sample, the sample user is created irrespective of whatever the operating system it is there. Irrespective of whatever the operating system, it will just go and irrespective of any operating system, it will just go and create the user. You don't need to bother about anything. So that's why declarative is more demand, or not demand, I would say more focus in today's world is declarative approaches, not the imperative approaches. And the declaration syntax will be taken by the tool. Okay, so a tool will take that particular declarative syntax and it makes your life easy. Okay, so that is the one. Okay, so that's fine. So that's the problem with the shell scripting. So now homogeneous versus heterogeneous. Homogeneous versus heterogeneous means, so because this operating system is homogeneous, so that means your script works for only one operating system. It will not work for different operating systems. So that's where, so homogeneous versus heterogeneous. Heterogeneous means different. Homogeneous means single thing, right? And the SQL operations versus parallel operations. I already mentioned, so you just go by command by command, command by command, command by command. Or you forget about the command, you take servers. I have 100 servers, then I go 100, one server after, one server after, one server after. No, not a great idea. Okay, so I have to run 100 servers in parallel. How do you do that? Okay, then the final thing is script has to be local on the server. Of course, that's the reason actually you're trying to do the git pull every time. Okay, so to address these particular problems, you have something called as configuration management tools, and that's where some tools comes into picture. Now we can draw a line now, okay, to address these problems. So there are two types of problems here. Okay, so what are the problems? If you look into the mind map once again, just mind map is just trying to visualize step by step. That's it, nothing more than that, right? Now you can address the problems which you have: standalone servers, you have scalability, you have security. You fix these particular problems, then you think about, social scripting is. But anyhow, shell at this point of time is doing the job. That's fine, right? It's doing the job. Okay, still it is doing the job. Now, what is the major problem I have right now? So standalone servers, so that means one server goes down, my application goes down. Scalability, if load is coming up more, okay, so I don't have any mechanism to increase the servers. I need to think about that. And the security is also nowhere you're actually bothering about at this point of time. So considering the issues, those are the serious issues. My shell is still doing the job. I can still go with my shell script, isn't it? Why can't I go with my shell? Okay, I can go with this one, right? So that's the idea basically. Okay, you can go with this, or so it's two lines now. So any line you have to take it, you have to come back and start and complete it. Okay, you take this line, so this line leads to configuration management tool. Okay, so this line leads to a configuration management tool, Ansible. Okay, so this line leads to a line called as AWS with Terraform. Okay, now I want to take the choice from yours whether you want to go with which one. Okay, any line is okay. You go this line, you come back again, start here. You go this line, you have to come back and start here. Doesn't really matter to us. Okay, so now we have two lines. So again, which line we want to go with? Your choice. You want to go with AWS with Terraform starting, or with Ansible? Okay, or you can go with Ansible first and then AWS with Terraform later. So yeah, what do you think? Please. One answer as a Terraform, two Terraform. Okay. Every one of you, please put your view whether you want to go with, just like however the higher score comes, we'll just go with that way. End of the day, it's simple, right? So we'll do both, but starting which one, later which one. That's it. First, we want to solve which problems. That's as simple as that. Yeah, I see more on Terraform coming out. Still, anyone, everyone, not anyone, everyone, every one of you. So we have two lines right now. So one we can go with, so talking more of Amazon, so solving those particular things, creation of things with certain things like, certain things like manual efforts of AWS with Terraform, or else we can go with, Ansible, okay, as a configuration management tool. So what are the problems we have with the shell? We can just quickly solve them and do that also. Actually, my preference would be going with Ansible. Okay, so because this is more focused on the project basically. Okay, because AWS Terraform will go in a very generic way. Okay, so but more focus of the project is actually on Ansible. When you go with Ansible, we'll try to talk about we'll try to talk about certain more things, or even let me put this way. So what are the other problems which we have actually, which I didn't listed it here? So we have some more problems. If my system goes down, so how do I get it informed? Okay, so something like monitoring I didn't talk about, right? So monitoring is something we need to think about. Okay, so monitoring is something I need to think about. Okay, and what else? Monitoring, if something goes wrong, I'm actually really not bothering about anything, and there is something called as log aggregation. Okay, so log aggregation. So actually these are operating issues. I cannot even keep it over here, so these should be considered as operating issues even in place. So these problems also we should address. So what if something goes wrong? Okay, so how I am dealing with that? Okay, so that's one thing, so which is monitoring. So here monitoring is one thing, and log aggregation. So previously, if there is a problem, I'm logging into the server, I'm doing a tail-f, and I'm actually trying to tail-f, and I'm actually trying to follow the log file, and then actually finding out what is the issue. But actually, there is something more you can do. So which is something more you can do, which is you can pull the log in one central place, and you can watch that particular log in one central place also. How do you do that? How do you do that? So that is another part basically here. Okay, so monitoring and log aggregation, these problems also we should address. Okay, with both actually. In fact, this should be addressed with both, like Terraform and Ansible both together, not a single thing, but still, yeah. So those are problems also we have actually. Okay, so I see at least more on Terraform only. Okay, but I see still everyone not has answered that. What is your choice? Okay, so at least as of now, I see a lot of Terraforms. Okay, all right. So okay, you want to go with AWS with Terraform? Yeah, we'll go with that way only. No problem. Okay, so yeah, so we can start that way. So now what are the problems we have? Standalone machines. Okay, so standalone machines we have, and how do I address that particular problem with something called as high availability. Okay, how do I get the high availability? So that means you need to run each with two servers minimum, right? Every application should be running with a minimum of two servers. Okay, minimum. If one goes down also, another should be there. Okay, so that's the idea. So that means everywhere, always minimum has to be two servers. How do you deal with that? Okay, so now there are again okay, fine, you're going with let me rename this. Okay, so then I'll just go with it has architecture v1. Okay, so let's put that way. Now I want to make, okay, so fine, so that means I want to take two servers. Okay, two servers are there, so two servers are there. Okay, so you say that as server one for every component, and this all, or let's say it's a front end, like let's say front end one, and then front end two. These are the servers you are going to use. All right, two servers. Now front end. Okay, so now there is a end user. Now there's a end user. Okay, how end user will come to know there are two servers actually out there, right? So he doesn't know how many servers are there. So which server to contact? Which server to contact? So he has a problem now, right? So which server to contact, he doesn't know. All right, and that's where okay, so that is where the problem coming into picture. So he doesn't know, so where to go. Two servers are there, he doesn't know where to go, right? So which server is the right server, he doesn't know. Or google.com is having 100 machines or 1000 machines, 10,000 machines, you don't know. So you're not actually hitting a single server, right? So then what's happening? Okay, so that is where certain things comes into picture, which is called as a load balancer. So what you're going to do is you're going to put a load balancer, and that particular load balancer will balance the load basically. So here load balancer, you take the load balancer, and user always try to hit the load balancer. User always try to hit the load balancer, and this particular load balancer will actually go and forward the request to your 2 servers. So that is where you're having it. Okay, so front end 1, front end 2. Okay, so this is what you have. Now that means you put a load balancer before each and every system, right? Before each and every component, okay, you had to keep a load balancer. Okay, each and every component you have to keep a load balancer, and that's where okay, every component will be balanced. Every component will be balanced. But again, at the same time, I have to think about the costing as well. Okay, so simply everything is fine. You cannot actually go and create them. Okay, so we have to think about the costing perspective now. Okay, everywhere, if I use a load balancer, so how many load balancers will come and how much cost I'm increasing. So that particular part also I need to think through. Okay, so rather than that, can't I make with 1 or 2 load balancers? So something like that is much better. Yeah, I think so. Okay, so one load balancer which is actually pointing to the front end where the actual front end web page will come, and like let's say another load balancer I'm going to keep it after the front end. So my front end Nginx configuration is there, right? My Nginx will try to talk to this load balancer only, and this load balancer will go and so send it to all the components. So now let's say it actually goes to it actually goes to catalog 1. Okay, and catalog 2, like that. Every component is actually going to be there. Okay, so from this load balancer, you're going to send the information to this particular one. All right, so this is the idea. So if I go with the one load balancer, and at the same time, I will just take this and put it here. It's actually going to be cart 1. It's actually going to be cart 2. Okay, so that's where something I'm going to do this. Okay, so now I address the costing problem. I address the cost problem. Okay, one load balancer. Actually, load balancer is smart enough. If you ask to send it to cart, it can send to cart only. You can write some configuration. You can create some configuration in the load balancer, and okay, so then the load balancer is smart enough to understand your request and send it. Okay, it's sensible. Okay, so that is where it is fine for us, right? It is fine for us. Even though there is there are multiple components in the backend, you can send it to certain servers only, and those servers are actually you can send it to certain servers only. Okay, so how do you do that? We'll see that practically. We'll see that, but I'm trying to help you in the approach first. So the problem which we have is, first one is a cost, and we're actually trying to address that particular cost problem with a single load balancer. But 2 servers are mandatory. That I don't want to anywhere skip that particular part. Okay, so first problem. Okay, problem one, what we identified. Okay, so problem 1, what we identified is using load balancers for every component. Okay, our problem 1. Okay, so problem 1 is using standalone machines. Standalone machine. Okay, so standalone machine. What is the solution 1? Solution 1 is using multiple servers. If it is multiple servers, what is the other problem coming into picture? Is this one? So this leads to which problem? This leads to problem 2. This leads to problem 2. What is the problem 2? So problem 2 is problem T is how user will send requests to multiple servers. Okay, this is a problem. Okay, this is a problem. So, and this leads to solution basically, and this leads to a solution. And what is that? A solution is use load balancer. Okay, load balancer. Okay, and this leads to problem number 3. Okay, now what is problem 3? Okay, what is problem 3? Problem is so using LB for every component, using load balancer for every component is costly. Okay, because in cloud, so okay, in cloud is costly. Let's put that way. Okay, pretty simple. Is costly. Okay, so then what is the solution for this? The solution we can make it. The solution we can make it here is how to make. Sorry. So so use single load balancer for all the microservices, whatever you have. So yeah, so it's actually going to be is use LB for use a single LB for all microservices is what we are talking about. Okay, and this is causing any kind of a problem. Yeah, so how do you configure it? Okay, so I mean the next problem would be is okay, so the next problem is actually going to be is the next problem is actually going to be is how do you sorry, yeah, the next problem is does LB, okay, can we use, okay, so can we use okay, a single load balancer, single LB, and does it, okay, so does it redirect traffic to, does it redirect traffic to appropriate component? Okay, does it go with appropriate component or not? So that's a question mark for us. Okay, does it go with appropriate component? Yes, the solution is yes. If we use ALB, what is ALB? You will see that application load balancer. Okay, so what is that? You will see that practically again. Okay, but for now there's a solution. Okay, I'm fine. At least I'm fine now. Okay, so then okay, so I'm doing this. This is okay now. Now how about the next problem? Okay, I'm going to talk about now. Here is okay, fine. Now, so the problem is problem number 5 is so, and this is an individual problem which is not really leading it to any problem. So this P4 it is actually leading to this problem 5 is individual. Now the question is all servers public? Is all servers are gonna be public? Is all servers is gonna be public? Okay, so then okay, so is it secure? So the next problem. Okay, solution, or like let's say I would say like basically this I mean I would say like so some description around this particular problem. Okay, so some description around this problem is yes. Okay, so all servers are public. All servers, if all servers are public, if all servers are public, then if all servers are public, then what is the problem which is going to come up? Okay, then okay, so then all servers are exposed to internet, which is very vulnerable, so that means a lot of hackers will be there and they will try to contact your get into your servers. Okay, that's what people does. If there is some issue kind of thing in your machine, okay, so okay, then okay, so then they will try to get in there. So that means all your servers are public or exposed, then so internet, which is very vulnerable. And if your servers are having, if servers are having any security issues, then okay, so those can be compromised. Those can be compromised. Okay, so then what is the solution here? So the solution is either it can be two ways. One way is, okay, so make your servers okay, so less vulnerable or zero, so zero vulnerable. That means you fix all the security issues inside your machine. Okay, that is one thing. All right, and so okay, that is one thing, but still your servers are exposed to the outside world. But you have to keep your servers little okay, so not little, max to the security. Okay, you have to follow the security standards and things like that. And what is alternative I have? And this also leads to some problem. Okay, so does the servers need to be this leads to a next problem. So P6 I'll mention. Problem 6. Okay, is the servers really needed? Is the servers really needed on a public internet? Okay, is a question mark. Okay, and the solution is no, we don't really need to keep it on public. Then how public people can access it? Yes, we'll do that. Okay, there's an approach. We can do that. Okay, so that means only see which component is really opening to the public, only front end, right? And this front end servers also I don't need to open it public. So only the load balancer will be public. That's all the components are going to be private. Okay, just all the components is going to be private. So that's where now I'm going to make it something like this. Okay, so I will say so until here it's gonna be public, and after this everything is going to be private. That's it. I'll design that way. I will design that way. Okay, so that means the answer solution to this one is internal really need to be on the internet, and the solution is okay, no. So we can keep all servers in private networks of AWS. That's it. Okay, now this leads to the next problem. Okay, if anyone have any questions or any confusion, just interrupt me. Okay, I might be writing something, so just do interrupt me if you have anything. So the next, it actually leads to another problem now. Okay, what is the problem? It is actually leading to problem. Okay, so 7. Okay, so the problem 7 is okay, if the network is private, how do you reach the servers? How do you reach the servers? You take your organization. In organization also you have servers, and you want to connect to the servers. Where you have to be? In the office. You have to be physically in the office or virtually in the office network, right? Virtually in the office network. So then the solution actually going to be is okay, yes, you can make it private. So how do you connect to the servers is okay, either by using VPN. Okay, either by using VPN or Bastion. Okay, what is that? I'll talk about that later. Or some direct connect which is offered by Amazon. Okay, so like this, different approaches are there. Okay, so some VPN, I think every one of you today working from remote from home. Okay, you know at least what is VPN, right? So you dial to your company network, your system will be taken into the company's network, and from there and from there you can contact wherever you want. So you also get into Amazon if you want to get into Amazon. So that means, yeah, so you should deal with something like that. Okay, so that is another problem which is actually solved. Okay, and I think these are all the problems I'm thinking basically. Okay, so at least from this point of time. And yeah, I think that's fine. I don't know, somehow I started and I ended somewhere, but yeah. So these are the problem statements and solutions. And we need to address, so yeah, you know what to address now. So you have to create a public network and private network. How to do that, you should know. Okay, so you should know how to create a load balancer. Okay, you should know that. And after that, how do you balance the load of a single using load balancer? How do you, okay, so how do you actually try to send the traffic to multiple machines? Okay, how do you need to do that? Okay, so that also you should know that. And okay, if all network is a private, so how do you connect to those machines? So bastion part or VPN part, how do you do that? We'll talk about that. Okay, and we'll start. Okay, after understanding these particular things manually of what to do, and then we'll come with the automation. Okay, using Terraform. That's it. Manually, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to do manually. Manually is not our scope at all, and that's where I want to do automation. That's where Terraform comes into picture. So now what all the, I think it's almost time up, but still a couple of minutes, few minutes. So what actually, what are the things we have to do here? Okay, so you should, what are the action items? What you should learn actually here? Okay, things we'll learn here, things we have to learn here, things we should learn. Okay, from this particular approach. What are the things you need to learn here? The first thing is, okay, so the first thing is what I should learn. The first thing is how to keep, okay, how do you balance the load? How will load? What is load balancer? How it works? What is load balancer and how it works? Okay, second one. What is a load balancer and how it works? And the second thing is, okay, so so what is so basically what is ALB? What is using single load balancer? Using single load balancer, so dealing with multiple components. And the third one is okay, private and public networks. Okay, what is this? And the fourth one is connecting to private networks. Okay, so these topics will go a couple of days. Okay, and after that we'll just review back our diagram and we'll see how it is here. I mean, where are we? And again, we'll try to review, is there anything we can do? Okay, and that's the idea basically. I think all I have here is it's been you can view that any email is okay. Okay, my email, right? Is this all I have made it? So you can you can just see the content here. Some details it is asking. So all my points are available here. Just public, you can just use it. That's it. All right, and the link is actually added in the Azure DevOps. Cool. So that's all from my side for today. Any questions? Any questions, confusions? If you stay if you stay silent, actually you cannot utilize me at max, right? So if you ask questions only, basically you'll get more from me. Otherwise, I'll just teach the topic and I'll leave, right? So you put questions, then you can take my experience actually. Okay. So yeah, always yeah, 1 minute. I'll come to you. Yeah, 1 second. So always, if you have any questions, you can, so while watching the session also make a note and you can ask in the next session even, not a problem. Okay, if you're not able to type that much question in the Slack also, sometimes you can come back in the next session and ask those questions. You can say that, I have questions from previous session. You can just ask like anything. Logically, you should connect everything. That's what I'm telling you from day one. Okay, logically you should connect. There should not have any logical gap between point to point. Okay, so yeah, that's the very important thing. Yes, Anand.
Raghu, you said there, like, are we gonna really put web servers in the private network mode or like private subnet mode? Because we have to expose it to public, right? Outside.
Private still works.
Yeah, how? Like, may know like how the
So that
user
you'll see
will.
one by one. That you'll see one by one. How in the sense we'll see.
Yeah. Okay. Then.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I know that your past experience never given that exposure, right? You might have kept in public, and that's where you have a question that how it is working. So yeah, that is how it
Because
works.
yeah, but we have to open web servers, like we put it web servers on public subnet and like whatever the application logic and database and private subnet,
Yeah,
right?
because whoever teach you is not a real-time guy. I know you come from other southern background. So just to answer your question, okay. So who taught you is the wrong way. They taught. No one actually opens the server to the public, not even a single machine. Yeah, and still you can do that.
Okay. Thanks, sir.
Yeah. Security is the major concern basically when you go with the application. So probably, so I'm not putting the most security expertise actually from the session because we're more focusing on the application CI/CD management. And okay, so security is some layer of different person basically, but still we should know the things at the same time. So when it comes to the, so basically the application design and everything, security takes the high priority. Security cannot be compromised at any point of time to any application. So that's a major thing. So which will, which certain things even can be ignored because of, certain enhancements also can be ignored because of security keeping in mind all the time. Okay, so yeah, so as to come back to that particular point, okay, so we should not actually expose any servers. At least if you ask me, I will never prefer to expose any server to the public world, but yet I need to make my application to the outside world. Yes, still I have to do that because without I make it application to the outside world, none of my customers can access my application. So both things should be there. Okay, and that can be achievable, and that's what Amazon helps you in doing that. See it. And yeah, any other questions? So that's a good question, logical question. If you keep it servers your private, how can you expose to the outside world? Okay, so yeah, that's a valid point to everyone. Should think that way. Yeah, think almost time up. Okay, so final call. Any other questions? Else we can meet in tomorrow's session.
Raghu, one more thing, like
Yeah.
uh, So are we gonna really put one load balancer only? Like if it
Yeah,
because
yeah.
the if the load gets high, it can't serve
Okay.
like multiple requests, right?
Do you know what is Amazon naming of the load balancer? It's called as Elastic. Elastic.
Sorry?
It's Elastic, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, you're using the elasticity feature. That's it. Okay. So because it's scalable, basically, it's elasticity means it's scalable. That means you put how much load, that load balancer will scale. That's what
Okay.
Amazon tells you. That's the feature of the load balancer. That's where you don't need to really put a load balancer each and every place. Not really needed.
Not each and every place. I'm asking for like at least we can put multiple like two load balancers for the user request, right?
Just for the sake, you should not keep it, right? So you should understand and you
Okay.
should keep it, okay? So just for sake of keeping, okay, let me tell my current project example. I'm working for a stock market application. So where I'm targeting a 1 lakh customers basically, and 1 lakh
Okay.
mobiles, okay, 1 lakh mobiles will hit my application. Still, I'm going with a single load balancer. So do you need more than?
Okay. And I mean like it will be like a dynamic when the user requests are coming, like it will be like scaling the like CPU or it will
Since
be like a,
since your server is not scalable, it's a standalone, you're putting some scalability feature to that. Okay, so you add some layer on top of that scalability. Okay, so we actually talking about scalability, right? So this you have to derive additionally, but this component comes as a scalability automatically, so you don't need to bother about that. So let
oh,
Amazon take care.
okay, fine, Raghu, thank you.
All right, so fine, and let's meet in tomorrow's session. Bye. Good day. Good night.